UFC 322 just got leaked, and you will be surprised at who is fighting in the main event. That's right, I know it's UFC 318 fight week, which means that UFC 322 is still 5 pay-per-views away if you count this pay-per-view. However, we have multiple strong reports that can tell us who is fighting in the main event of UFC 322 and when and where it is. So looking at the timeline, we have UFC 318 this week in New Orleans, Louisiana, and it is Dustin Poirier's retirement fight against Max Holloway. I uploaded a video about this fight last week if you want to go check that video out after this fight, but I will tell you guys who will win and why, so that's a good video to check out if you want to put some money on the fight or just know who's most likely going to win that fight. And then UFC 319 is next month, which I also have a video about. It is Khamzat Chimaev versus Dricus du Plessis. It will be in Chicago, Illinois. UFC 320 is in October and it is in Vegas. There's no pay-per-view in September anymore. UFC 320 does not have any confirmed fighters yet for it either. UFC 321 also got leaked, which I have a video out about as well, so go check that one out later in the day today. And then UFC 322 is in November. I believe it is November 15th. It will be in New York City at Madison Square Garden, one of the most famous sporting arenas in the world, and it will be Islam Makhachev versus Jack Della Maddalena for the welterweight championship. That's right, we have multiple reports confirming this. The first one I will put up on the screen here. It is Islam Makhachev asked Dana White if he could have the opportunity to fight at Madison Square Garden. And everything that Islam Makhachev's done for the UFC, taking all these fights, fighting a featherweight twice when he wanted to fight lightweights, taking a short notice fight against Money Moicano earlier this year when he was supposed to fight Arman Sarukian, and then just being a good champ for multiple years. The UFC is going to listen to this, and he is a megastar, so they're going to want him fighting in Madison Square Garden. And on top of that, Islam Makhachev's manager was asked if he will be fighting in October at Abu Dhabi, which is where UFC 321 is, and to which I believe the manager reported that they will not be fighting on that card, that the next fight will be on American soil in one of the biggest sporting arenas in the world, which we know UFC 322 is in Madison Square Garden in New York, one of the most famous sporting arenas in the world, and that is where Islam Makhachev is likely to be fighting Jack Della Maddalena. Now remember, a free way to support the channel is subscribing. We're on the road to 900 subscribers, so every subscribe counts. And then one day when we're a big channel, you could look back and be like, I was a part of that community from before he even hit 1,000 subscribers. Anyways, let's get back to the video. So we know that Makhachev wants this fight, but let's look if Jack Della Maddalena wants this fight. With short answer, yes, JDM does want this fight. And why? Because Islam Makhachev is a superstar in the game. JDM's a new champion. Although JDM is on a great win streak in the UFC, he has not beaten anybody of the level or popularity of Islam Makhachev. And we know that JDM thinks that he could beat Islam Makhachev. He's called him small in the past and has belittled his achievements. JDM fully believes he could beat Islam Makhachev because JDM just beat a bigger wrestler than Islam Makhachev and Bilal Muhammad. So JDM definitely thinks that he could have that same type of output against Islam Makhachev and defend his belt. And that will snap a huge winning streak that Islam Makhachev is on, and Islam Makhachev's a superstar, so this would do great things for the popularity of Jack Della Maddalena. And then when you look at it from a monetary point of view, if you didn't know, champions get paid the same as other fighters in the sense that they get paid to show up, and then if they win, they get more money. But champions also get pay-per-view points, which means any pay-per-view that they're fighting on, they get money based on how many were sold. So JDM definitely wants to fight Islam Makhachev because that is a superstar in the game. It's going to sell so many pay-per-views. The UFC always stacks their New York City cards. So this is just going to be a lot of money for JDM that I'm sure he's going to be happy to make. Now I'll give you guys a little bonus sauce in this video. There are 2 more fights that could be confirmed for this card that are highly rumored. One of them will be Merab Dvalishvili against Corey Sandhagen. Merab was recently talking to Ariel Helwani on his show, asking him where he should be fighting next, and Ariel Helwani said Madison Square Garden. For all the reasons of it being such a famous venue and that Merab hasn't fought there yet, and Merab took that under serious consideration, so you guys could see that announcement for a co-main event. That is not as rumored as JDM versus Islam Makhachev, but it is potential. And then another one is Bo Nickal's next fight. We don't know who the fight will be against, but we know that he wants to be on this card. He was at Madison Square Garden last year at UFC 309, and all signs point to him wanting to be back on that card. Now, looking at the fight that is leaked for this card, Islam Makhachev versus Jack Della Maddalena. Who do I think will win? Personally, I would put my money on Islam Makhachev. That is not financial advice, that's just my personal opinion. Well, yes, it is impressive that JDM has beat a bigger wrestler in Bilal Muhammad and shows that JDM can perform well against wrestlers. I think Islam Makhachev is certainly a better fighter than Bilal Muhammad. I believe all of you guys would agree with that take. But I also believe that Islam Makhachev has been fighting a higher level of competition than JDM has been fighting. So Islam Makhachev has seen all the tricks in the books. He is going to be fully ready for this fight, whereas JDM has not fought anybody on Islam Makhachev's level, so Islam Makhachev is going to have a veteran advantage there. But I know JDM is undefeated. He's on a crazy win streak, and he's a very good fighter. He was underrated going into the Bilal Muhammad fight, and I think he will have a lot more respect going into this fight. And it is worth noting that it is JDM's weight class. Islam Makhachev will be new to 170. He will be new to fighting someone as big as JDM. JDM's going to be used to the weight class, so that is something to make note of. So I do think it will be a relatively close fight. I generally do, but I would give the edge to Islam Makhachev. However, it should be a great fight. But you guys let me know down below, who do you think will win? Islam Makhachev or Jack Della Maddalena? How do you guys think the fight will go? And if you've made it this far, a like and subscribe help way more than you ever could think. So with that being said, I will see you guys in the next video. Deuces.